So none of these are random events. Our lives are decided by God. God chooses. And what is the basis? The basis is called as the law of karma. So many times people will say that, okay, in this world, many times we are helpless when it is the fury of nature. We cannot control so many things. We see we have conditionings. Um, uh, we have limitations. Things don't happen the way we think. Yes, because God is in control. Because God is in control. That's the simple answer. Rather, we can see that, oh, so many times people may say, okay, why God is controlling? Why God doesn't give us freedom? And the simple answer is that, the control of God, because God has put everything in control, then therefore this world is like an extension house. So we see all what we need supplied by Mother Nature. People say nature, it's nature, it's God's nature. It's God's nature. He is in control. We can see that because God is in control, and now if we lead life with the positive spirit, the sports spirit, we can face the adventure which life brings about. Just like a sport, we can understand this is the matrix of success. This is the matrix lead a principle valued life. Then your score can become high. We can see that happening. That's God in control, actually. Then people say, okay, then if God is there, then why is there suffering all around? Why is there suffering all around? God could have made a better proposal that we don't suffer. So to understand why suffering exists in this world, despite the presence of God, we need to understand the science or the law or the doctrine of karma, which is nothing but fact. Or rather, we can say that it is a generalization of Newton's third law of motion. To every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. If you generalize this on human beings, then we can say, yes, as you sow, so shall you reap an effect. I will give you three situations. Please hear these very attentively. And, and try to think about what is the similarity in these examples and what is the difference in these three examples. Principally, if you see a hand, immediately you will get a question. Oh, how did it got burnt? How did it got burnt? It got burnt during cooking or what happened? Example number two. A person is having a lot of pain in the stomach. He goes to the doctor sees him. The doctor asks him a question. What did you eat yesterday night? Huh? Example number three. A person is feeling problems. Some problems in the respiratory tract. He goes to the doctor. He goes to the doctor. Doctor does his test. No, it's not COVID. And then the doctor asks him, when did you start smoking? So mark these three examples. The similarity in these three examples is that all of them are about cause and effect. There is a cause, there is an effect. No effect exists without having a one-to-one onto mapping with a cause. There is a cause, there is an effect. The person accidentally got in touch with fire, hand got burned. Cause and effect. Person overate, 6 hours later, he got a stomach upset, pain in the stomach. Person started smoking, thinking that he is Rajnikant, no? And then 2 years later, he gets some respiratory tract. So that is a similarity, but the difference is in the time scale. The first one, immediate effect. The second one, 6 hours. The third one, 2 years. So the point is, if the time scale between the cause and effect is increased, so much so, so much so, so much so, so much so, that you're having an effect now, but you're not able to relate with the cause. You're having an effect now, but you're not able to relate with the cause. Which cause it maps to? And therefore, because the cause happened way, 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 way back, therefore, the question comes, Why me? Why me? So suffering exists because of not following the laws of God. And God's laws are for our benefit, not for God's benefit. That we have to understand. Just like the doctors may give health prescription. If you follow that, it's good for us. If you don't follow that, we harm ourselves. So all these, the laws given in the Vedic scriptures, given in the Bhakti Shastras, these laws are for our benefit actually. They are the best algorithms for life, for a meaningful, for a successful, fulfilled life. And if you don't follow, we harm ourselves. So to give us indicator that we are going on the wrong track, there is the law of karma. If you do something wrong, we get a signal. That signal comes in the form of suffering. Just like a thief, first time he wants to do thievery, there is there is a huge loudspeaker speaking from within. Don't do it, mat karo. We call it as conscience. There is an alarm which is from the down. A person becomes hardened, he thinks who cares, he does it. And a person will see, okay, another thief has got caught and he has got been beaten up very badly by the police. So you see, he's in fear, he's in anxiety. So the thief is very fearful, he's in anxiety. So we need to take a signal. That's a signal. That's suffering. Whether it is existing on a gross platform or it is existing on a mental platform is an indicator that we are going wrong. Disturbance is a sign of deviation. We are going wrong. Just like in chemistry, if you follow the proper principles, the experimental modus operandi, you are going to get a very specific output. In computers also, if you follow all the commands, you are going to get a specific output. If you are getting some irregular output, that means your code was wrong. There is something wrong in the code. Is it not? Similarly, gross level suffering, mental level disturbance, all these are indicators that we are deviating from the real laws which can help enrich our life. And that's why suffering is an indicator. Just like a professor, a good professor will give a series of examinations. He gives weekly tests, he gives surprise tests, then there is mid semester, then there is end semester, final examinations. Now, suppose there is only final examination, and if one flunks in the final examination, his whole year is spoiled. But now there is a test, and a student, he was thinking very high of himself, he gets a zero in the test, and nobody else in the whole class of 100 has got a zero. The person will feel very embarrassed. Ye kya ho gaya, no? I thought I'm a big macho man hero, I got a zero in the exam. So he'll start studying. But if he's studying, he will at least pass. He will at least pass in the finals because the test doesn't have that much weightage. Similarly, we see that these sufferings which exist in our life, these small sufferings which exist in our life, actually, yes, there are big sufferings also. Then there are small sufferings. So even at the stage of small suffering, we should take it as an indicator to set right our hearts, our desires, to cleanse our hearts, to cleanse our desires, to rectify ourselves, following the laws, the principles given by the Bhakti Shastras. So that's there as an indicator, as a teacher. In fact, we can see suffering is not just an indicator, a training methodology by the Lord, designed by the Lord to teach us, but suffering is also a signal which is Lord. Suffering is an expression of God's mercy, of God's love for us, because therefore He cannot interfering in our lives. Just like, let's take up an example. Just like one time, there was a small child, and this child likes sweets a lot, especially rasgulla. But because he was spoiling his teeth, his mother would not give him so much. So he was always not so happy with his mother because she didn't used to give him the amount of rasgullas he liked it. One day he came, he got up late in the morning, and he came out in the drawing room, and he saw that on one of the shelves on the drawing room, there was a packet of what looked like small, but a lot of rasgullas. And he thought, so nice. I'm going to have it all. My brother has gone to school, and mother is busy in cooking, and I'm going to eat it all. And this child was so excited, saying, Rasgulla, so nice. Mother is busy, the brother is not there, everything is mine. Today I will enjoy. And like this, but very carefully, in a very systematic way, so the mother doesn't get any clue, he was progressing towards this packet of what he was calling as rasgullas, but in actuality was naphthalene balls with a mint flavor. So, so because there was no noise, many times mothers are also very, there is nothing which is happening, then they understand that something wrong is going to happen. Because so therefore the mother came out wondering that this child is up to some mischief. And then she looked at the child behaved as if he was very innocent. And the mother said, you nonsense, what are you doing? I nothing doing, you know. And the mother said, you're up to some mischief. He said, no, 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 not at all. And then the mother went back. The child again was proceeding slowly towards the shelf. Then the mother again peeped on. The mother said, what are you up to? And now he was caught. He was caught. And the mother said, behave yourself, you nonsense, you fool, you come back. And like, no, I want rasgulla. And the mother said, no, that is not rasgulla, that is chichi. Today evening we'll go and you'll get rasgullas for you. And the child was crying. He thought, okay, my mother is playing tricks on me. I am not going to get bewitched. You know, these oldies, they think that they're too smart. I'm going to, not. I am going to be relentless today. And therefore, he sat down. After some time, again, he was up to his mischief. And the mother was shouting on the top of help. And the child was thinking, now that God, now I have to rush and get it. And then therefore the child started singing the song Sarfaroshi, Ki Tamanna. And the mother was shouting. The mother said, I will beat you a lot. And then the mother was understanding that this fellow is not hearing. So she said, I'll tell father he will beat you. And then the child was thinking, father is in my pocket, I'll cry tears, he will melt down. And like this, the child starting dashing, raging towards that shelf. Because he thought that okay, it's very less time, at least I'll get one scoop, at least 5-10 in the mouth. And the child was running towards this shelf to catch hold of this naphthalene. The mother was on the other side. And when she saw that, the child is up to such a deadly action. The mother, she dropped off her kerchief, which she was holding in the hand, and she ran towards this child. And this fellow had opened up the packet, and he was just about to gobble, these naphthalene, thinking them as rasgulla. He was about to put his mouth. Mother came to him. She, uh, held his hand, make him throw all these naphthalene balls on the ground, gave him a tight slap on the face. And this fellow, he was skidding on the ground, making saucers. And he fell on the floor, the marble floor of the drawing room with a big thud, head on. And his knicker had come out, and his shirt had become torn, like that. And that was his precarious scene. And the child was crying. And the child was thinking, my mother is so cruel. My mother is giving so much suffering. That neighboring auntie is so good. She gives a toffee whenever I go. My mother is so cruel. She's beating me up. She's such a cruel mother. Just imagine if a friend of the child had just come, and no, and he happened to just see the action scene, when the mother is, the action scene, when this fellow is, doing some stunts. I mean, not voluntary stunt, forced stunts like that, and he captures that in his smartphone, and then he puts it and makes that video viral, or makes a research paper out of it and publishes it in IEEE saying the mother is so cruel and I have evidence of that. Does it make any sense? It doesn't make any sense. Why? Because for a mother, it requires more love to slap a child than to embrace a child. And the same is true for God. So suffering, the Lord only gives when He sees that the living entity is missing so much that He has to be stopped somehow or the other. For it is an expression. Before the living entity messes even more, the God intervenes. And that's how nature intervenes. That's how nature gives us life. We may say, yes, sometimes the suffering takes a life toll as well. But yes, one who can give life can take life also to give another opportunity in another life. That faith we should have when we go on.